Tide Talk with Webb is back. We've got quite a few stories to get into. The first one is one about Ed Orgeron. He clarifies his energy drink consumption, Lane Kiffin as OC, and talks to Nick Saban in recruiting Alabama. He's made it pretty clear that he's all about LSU, and we only worry about LSU. I'm trying to do my worst impression of him. When he went on the opening kickoff on WNSP FM 105.5 in Mobile, Alabama, Lane Kiffin was talking about LSU as Lane Kiffin as the LSU coordinator in consumption of energy drinks. When asked about the defending SEC champion in Alabama, he quickly pointed out it's about trying to catch Alabama in the SEC West. And this is his quote, and I'm going to do it in his voice. I'm not saying we're chasing them. I won't say that. We worry about our program, and we worry about LSU, and what we got to do it on a daily basis. and he also went on to say, I give Coach Nick Saban a lot of credit. He did a great job here at LSU. He did a great job of recruiting. He did a great job of coaching. He's doing the same thing in Alabama. He'll go down as one of the best coaches ever. On the other hand, at LSU, we focus on LSU, and that's what we do, and control what we can control. So that's what he said. Which hats off to him. He was honest and very gracious about it. And, when asked about Lane Kiffin as his OC, he said Lane Kiffin was a great candidate. Lane, he's known for a long time, a lot of years they worked together at USC and everything. And he said they obviously spoke about it. He said Lane Kiffin's main priority was to be not offensive coordinator. His main priority was to be a head coach, and we all knew that. That's what he wanted to do because he came to Alabama to rehabilitate his career. And he said, I'm very happy that he was able to do that and very successful candidate. And he said, yeah, we did talk about it, and he did say the Lane told him, yes, coach, I'm definitely coming. But when other opportunities arose, he obviously went to FAU. And basically he said that next year LSU's going to have a different offense, and he got real wet when asked about Darius Geis, which Darius Geis is going to be a great running back. I know Alabama wanted him. They're going to have a different look under Matt Canada, the new offensive coordinator for them. He said there's going to be new formation shifts and a few different things. He said that Matt Canada averaged 43 points at places he's been, and he likes to score points. He's very multiple. I guess he's hoping that translates over to LSU. But I got something for you. You have no quarterback. You don't have a quarterback on that roster that can throw accurate over 10 yards. You're going to be running all year. So you better get in recruiting and get a quarterback. But anyway, he says he likes to do that kind of a thing, and hopefully they put up some points. But from what I've seen on their scrimmages, their practices, numbers I'm seeing, yeah, they're not putting up points. It's not happening yet. They don't have a good quarterback. When he asked about recruiting, he said, yeah, we need to start recruiting the Gulf Coast, Alabama's Gulf Coast better. It's an area that Saban's locked down. They actually need to do a better recruiting job, he said, of LSU or of the state for LSU. And he did say that a lot of great talent come out of LSU. Obviously, he mentioned Jamarcus Russell. And he also mentioned Chevis Jackson. But, that was back in the Nick Saban days. So we'll see how that goes. When he was on the Damn Libtard show with Stu Goetz, he was asked about the energy drink thing that I mentioned earlier. And he said on an average day, he'll take between 8 and 10 energy drinks to get through the day. Here's the deal. Here's what he said. Some days we work 20 hours a day, Orgeron said. Obviously have consumed many on some days, but for Lent and being Catholic, I give up chocolate and energy drinks and Diet Coke. So my energy drink consumption has curtailed. I do not drink that amount every day, to be honest. In the last 2 or 3 days, I maybe have drank a couple. I may have been 20 hours a day, but on those days I work 20, I drink 8 to 10, no doubt about it. When I'm drinking, I may go 8 to 10. Yeah, that's what happens. That's his actual quote. It was kind of funny. So, yeah, Ed Orgeron will probably die of a heart attack or something similar, maybe a stroke, before he wins an SEC title. I'm just going to throw that out there. If I'm wrong, comment below in a few years, but I don't think I'm wrong on that one. Anyway, there's another story that was really cool about Lee Corso. He defends the SEC after Colin Cowherd, latest rants, your coaching is awful. Basically, The SEC continues to lead the way according to ESPN's Lee Corso. Fox Sports analyst Colin Cowherd early in the week had said that, and I quote, he took a swipe at our conference. The league has the greatest players, but awful coaching. Okay. He's a member of the media, and like I said, the College Game Day host, one of the remarks by a member of media from a different network, was quick to point out the Big Ten's bowl record this past season, which is dismal. Corso said it's the SEC on the Corso went on the opening kickoff at FM 105.5 and said it's the best football conference in the country. Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State are in a real good conference. Wisconsin is pretty good, but what you did in the bowl games really hurt them because they lost pretty much every bowl game they were in. They didn't win a single bowl game out of those top three teams, and that kills them from a national perspective. There's talk about catching up to the SEC, but they haven't even got close. So let's break down a little bit on the conferences. Bowl record, SEC wasn't as good this year. I'll admit we struggled, had some issues in the bowls, played some really good teams. I'll go ahead and admit it. ACC went 9-3, did very, very well. Like I said, they went 1-0 versus the Big 12. They went 3-1 versus the Big 10, and they went 0-1 versus the Pac-12, and 4-1 versus the SEC. The Big 12 was 4-2 overall. They went 0-1 versus ACC, 0-0 versus Big 10 because they didn't play any, 1-0 versus Pac-12, and 2-1 versus the SEC. The Big 10 went 3-7 overall. They were 1-3 versus ACC, 0-0 versus Big 12, 1-2 versus Pac-12, and 0-2 versus SEC. The Pac-12, which was 3-3, 500 ball, they went 1-0 versus ACC, 0-1 versus Big 12, 2-1 versus the Big 10, and 0-1 versus the SEC. Now it's down to the SEC. We had an off year. It's been about 7 or 8 years before we've had a year this tough. Like I said, we didn't show up in some bowl games, didn't play very well. Had some close ones, lost in the nail biters at the very end. Overall record for the SEC in bowl season was 6-7. We went 1-4 versus the ACC, 1-2 versus Big 12, 2-0 versus Big 10, and 1-0 versus Pac-12. And here's another rant by Colin Cowherd. The insular nature of the South is hurting the conference. We've got the most players drafted. It doesn't mean you're the best conference anymore, he said. I don't consider the SEC to be the best conference. I think the ACC is better. I think the Big Ten at the top, especially this year, is better. And then the ACC, you can have better players. Your coaching is awful. You're a retard hack, Colin Cowherd. Like, you keep saying this stuff because you want reactions. You're like clickbaiting people because nobody watches your show. Your show sucks. It sucks. I think I would rather watch bunion surgery on somebody than watch your turd of a show. And I know why you're saying this because you want people to watch. He also said, you are the Pac-12 under Pete Carroll, one great team and some tradition, history, but there is no second-best team in the SEC. He said, but Corso was quick to point out when he heard this, Alabama was able to recruit. That keeps them a step ahead. But notice the depth of the league should not be dismissed. He also went on to say, the whole SEC is a great conference, Corso said. You can take all the weight of the SEC. That's just the difference between the SEC and other conferences. There are between 5, 6, 7, and 8 really good teams in the SEC. And now Alabama is head and shoulders above it, like he said, and above everybody else. But there are very good teams right under them that are very good. And we've seen it throughout the years. Even the years that Alabama was awesome, undefeated, they had a lot of close games. There's a lot of great talent in that conference. One team he's high on is Turd Town, the Barners. This is what Corso had to say about it. He said, if I tell you what, Auburn is going to be a good football team this year. You better watch out, Alabama, because that quarterback, Jared Stidham, can play. He's going to make Auburn a really good football team. Yeah, whatever. I'll believe it when I see it. Same thing with Tennessee. I hear that about Tennessee every year. Oh, Tennessee going to be good. Tennessee going to be real good. Yeah, and every year they bomb out with a weak SEC East. So I don't even want to hear that garbage argument. Let's see. Corso's also high on USC, which I think they could be really good. What they finished the year at, if they start back up this year at, they could be really good. Of course, he said Florida State was really good, which I agree with him. I think they're going to be pretty good this year. In other stories, Rolando McClain. Wow. And let me guess, he's in the news for something other than football. Rolando McClain facing drug weapons charges after arrest in Hartsville. Why do you even go back to Hartsville? I mean, what is it about that place that dragged you back in and you just have a need to foul up when you get there? All the talent in the world. People would kill to have your talent. Let me go back to Hartselle and F it all up and throw my life away. One of my favorite Bama players. I love that guy. But he needs to just get his mind right, man. According to this report, he's been charged with second-degree possession of marijuana, carrying a concealed weapon without a permit after being arrested in Hartselle on Friday afternoon. McClain was arrested during a traffic stop for possible window tint violation, his second window tint violation he's been pulled over for. You would think the young man would just be like, I don't even want tint on my windows. But hey, I digress. A little after 1 p.m. on a Chestnut Street near Alabama Highway 36 in Hartselle, officers smelled pot, pulled him over, smelled the pot, found the weapon, no permit, and he posted $2,000 bonds and got out a few hours later. But what's sad, though, is let's read some history here. McClain missed the first 4 games of the 2015 season on suspension for violating league substance abuse. Just 11 days after that suspension ended, McClain was suspended indefinitely by the NFL, running afoul of the league's substance abuse policy. No surprise. McClain has not played football since the final game of the 2015 season with Dallas. He was suspended of the first 10 games of 2016 for violating the league's policy program for substance abuse and hasn't played a game since. Absolute garbage. He was also arrested in 2011 in Decatur three times between the 1st of December 2011 and April 21st of 2013. That is dismal. Like, stay your ass out of Hartselle, please. Like, get your career and life on track. You've got all the keys and people helping you. Please don't throw your life away. You got great talent. Do something. His first arrest, if you remember, he was actually arrested for third-degree assault, menacing, reckless endangerment, and discharging a firearm within the city limits. They were all eventually dropped, those charges. Like I said, on January 8th of 2013, McClain was pulled over for a window tint violation, the first one. Signed a false name on a ticket. He paid $186 fine to settle the matter. Then April 21st, a few months later, 2013, McClain faced misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, according to the report. McClain shouted, "Blank the police," while authorities tried to disperse a crowd gathered at a softball game where a fight broke out. He struggled against the police and resisted arrest. Those charges were eventually dismissed. And McClain returned for 1 year retirement to help the Cowboys win the NFC East title in the 2014 and earn the first playoff victory since 2009. He finished second in the voting on the NFL Comeback Player of the Year and was a finalist for the George Halas Award, which is presented to the NFL player, coach, or staff member who overcomes the most adversity to succeed. So this guy was on track. It was all there. He got a second chance. It was going great. And then this happened. Please, get your life in order. One of my final stories that I thought was really cool, I read about it. It's kind of a tearjerker. Alabama has a player fighting for a starting job, Hootie Jones. We all know him. We all see him a good bit. He's done good things. His mom battling cancer. It really sucks. Cancer is something that I've seen a lot of people struggle with, and it really stings. Like I said, this guy in this story, maybe he didn't get a starting job because of some of this stuff that's going on in his life, which is pretty incredible with his mother. And he's a big family guy. And what's really sad is right now he's fighting to win a starting job, and his mom's still battling cancer. She has stage 4 lymphoma, and it continues to get worse. His mother's really struggling. So if y'all out there could give her a quick prayer, that'd be great. She's been hospitalized 3 times this year. Visit started May 2nd because of stomach issues. Doctors have told his mother, Miss Carr, since the cancer came back in 2014, something could happen at any time. It's very crucial, so please send your good vibes and prayers her way. But also something about this young man that we didn't understand. Her insurance doesn't cover all of the medical costs, and his mother still works, even as sick as she is and as struggling as she is, to try to cover the cost. And I didn't know this about Jones. Not only is he a full-time football student, which is it's basically like having a full-time job, and he's a student, but he also, since 2015, he's had a part-time job and worked about 20 hours a week since 2015. I didn't know that. That's amazing. He's been wanting to make money to send home to his mother and his two-year-old son, and he works at a car dealership, and he washes and waxes cars. He's worked. Jones has actually went to work literally after some of the Tide home games, the early games, and washing cars until late at night to try to make money. his mother says he does a lot to try to help out. Like I said, and it's pretty crazy. Like I said, he did very good last year. I just want to point out he got to play a good little bit, filling in roles, played in a dime package and whatnot. He finished with 20 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. He's poised to make a jump this year, maybe get a starting job. We're all rooting for this guy. I definitely am after reading this story. Like I said, he played a little bit in the dime packages and could potentially start at strong safety if Minkah Fitzpatrick gets moved around. So back to safety. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep a close eye. I'll let you know on that. Like I said, his mother thinks this is his year for him, reading this article, and I think it is too. You know, he's coming up. He's going to graduate pretty soon, and so we're all rooting for this guy. He seems like a special kid, and our hearts go out to him and his family. But anyway, that's all I got for this week on Tide Talk with Webb, and I'll holler at you later. Yeah.